Welcome back. I'm Tyson Brando with Remax Escarpment, and
I'm Tanya DiNicolantonio.
And we help buyers and sellers navigate the complicated process of buying and selling in the Hamilton area and greater Hamilton area as well. And today we want to talk about a few things that we've seen in the news and just highlight our thoughts on them, what we think about what's going on, what is being talked about, and just clear up a few things.
I found this article earlier this week and it caught my eye because it was saying, these are the things your realtor doesn't want you to know. And since I couldn't think of any secrets that I was keeping, I wanted to know what they were thinking we were holding back. It actually caught my eye. The first one made me think, and it was almost an accusation saying an open house might benefit the realtor more than the client. Do you agree with that or disagree?
I would say there's definitely a side where it can benefit a realtor by, as it mentions here, it can be a great way to meet new people. But how many houses have we sold by means of an open house?
That's exactly where my mind went. We first of all, only do an open house if the client, the seller, wants one. We don't ever pressure anyone to do an open house, and if they don't like them, we don't need them. But I can speak for myself. I've sold several houses directly to a person who showed up at an open house, and also other agents send their clients to open houses. Active buyers who are looking will be sent by their agent, and then they'll come back with their agent. So the open house is a step on their road to buying the house.
Exactly.
So yes, we do meet new people, but that is not the first goal of doing an open house, at least for us.
And how many times have you, for example, didn't know you needed something until you went and saw it? It could be a new car. This is why window shopping is so dangerous, because you never knew you needed it until you saw it. So we've seen this with house shoppers even, where a hobby of going and looking at open houses, which sometimes you'll get neighbors and family members from people in the area come through, but it turns out that this actually works for them and gets them interested in moving forward with potentially even purchasing it. So it depends on the market, I would say, as well.
I agree with that, but it's not a secret.
No.
That's not
I don't think that's really a secret. What was number 2? Kitchens don't always sell homes. Agree, but we would never tell you that having a beautiful kitchen is going to ultimately sell your home and that you should spend an exorbitant amount of money fixing up your home.
It's true. I've had people ask, should I renovate the kitchen just to sell? And I almost always say no, unless the kitchen's terrible and falling apart, because you should renovate your kitchen, enjoy it for a little while, and then use it as leverage to sell when you're ready to be done with it. But if you haven't renovated it for yourself, don't do it for the buyer. They may not love the same kitchen that you love, and you won't get back 100% of what you put in.
No, absolutely not. So what we recommend is looking at the home as a whole and investing between 1% to 3% of the home's value back in. And this means looking at other areas that need it, primarily smaller fixes, paint, trim, light fixtures, some quick outside landscaping, and maybe upgrading your kitchen a little bit.
Small touches, new door handles, a new backsplash, maybe even a new counter, check the flooring if there's cracked tiles, those types of things. But spruce up the kitchen, but not necessarily gut and redo.
Next one, an empty home will work against you.
100% agree.
And this is why we do staging.
I've noticed that it isn't just me. It's not just my lack of spatial awareness. A room that's empty often looks smaller than a room with stuff in it. Sometimes people will look at a bedroom and they can't imagine that a queen size bed will fit in there. And it does very comfortably, but an empty room looks small.
Now, this doesn't mean that having a room chock full of stuff is like the opposite is also good. You want to have a decluttered, well-arranged room, but having it that way, well-arranged, proper amount of right type of furniture will be far better than an empty room.
Uncluttered, but not empty.
And there are things too, because most home buyers today are looking online first before they ever think about coming out to take a look in person. If it doesn't work that physical staging is an option, then virtual staging actually helps a lot, because even though it will be vacant when they get to the home, they've had a chance to look at the home online and envision how it would look like even if the furniture is not actually there.
Virtual staging being pictures that are photoshopped in with furniture.
And nowadays, it looks pretty good. As long as you have the right company doing it, it can look great.
Agreed. What's the next one?
You can interview real estate agents. Yes, you can.
And we highly recommend it because you want to have a fit with your agent. And if we're not a fit, then please find the person who'll do the best job for you. There's no pressure.
And because levels of experience vary greatly, how active they are in the market, personalities, what they do for their clients. All of these things are very different.
It's really hard to overstate how important the personality match is, because if you don't like the person who's there to work with you during the most stressful time of your life, it's going to be a miserable experience. You have to like the person at least a little.
100%. You're gonna tell your real estate agent probably in many cases more than you may tell your family. So you wanna make sure that whoever you're dealing with, you're comfortable with.
I think everybody knows they can interview real estate agents.
Next one was agents might overprice a house to secure a listing. This is true. We've seen it many times where an agent maybe didn't get a listing and it comes out and the listing's priced higher, and it's a bad idea. It's bad for the realtor and it's even worse for the client.
I've been saying this to clients to help them understand what's happening when you overprice a listing. You're actually handing leverage to the potential buyer. And the reason for this is because when you overprice a house, when buyers, who by the way are very educated, buyers do their research, they know what things are worth, they know what everything else is selling for, and if they feel that it's overpriced, they will politely stay away. They don't come and just make you an offer. They don't want to offend you. These buyers who are educated will just avoid your listing if it's overpriced. So it hurts you by eliminating traffic. And when you reduce the traffic by overpricing, you're giving that one brave buyer who does show up to make you a reasonable offer more leverage than they really should have, because now there's no competition for them. So by eliminating their competition, you give them a leg up on you, which defeats the whole purpose. So very strongly don't recommend overpricing.
And also, you might think to yourself, hey, but I want to start up here. I want to test the market. I want to see if we can get there. The flaw in that is that buyers are constantly checking out what's new. Like what's new, what haven't we seen before? The longer a property stays on the market, by the time you bring it down to a price where it belongs, it's lost its momentum. It's old. Now people are wondering, well, there must have been a reason why it didn't sell where it was. And now maybe you will likely get less money than you would have if you had just listed it at the right price from the beginning. Not low, not like you're just giving money away, but at the right price. And this pricing can be tricky. The next one is the opposite of that. Agents might underprice to secure a sale.
That's the trope of the lazy agent who just wants to throw it up on the market and give it away. That's not really something we do either.
And this is where actually interviewing and getting a couple quotes is not necessarily the worst idea, because you might see a range in the pricing.
And we've seen there's a guardrail built right into the market with this, because we haven't seen a true buyer's market where the buyers are completely in control, where if they see a low price, they can come and scoop a house. That's not a thing we've seen for years. Even now, after the correction that we've been through, buyers are still competing for houses, even to this day. So if we truly make a mistake, and we make mistakes sometimes, but if we truly make a mistake and we underprice a house, put the price tag too low, the buyers will come and compete for it and drive it up to market value given the right exposure.
One thing to really keep in mind, I heard this saying, I don't remember where I heard it from, but it said you can't underprice a home, but you can undersell a home. So in a market, and I redid just some stats just today, just to see where we stand. And right now in the Hamilton area, we are in a seller's market still. Inventory is very tight and it is a seller's market. So let's say the strategy is to price the home under market value. Obviously, if you price it under market value and you accept an offer immediately, there's a good chance you undersold that home. You underpriced it and you undersold it. But if the strategy is to underprice the home and then properly market the home and give it exposure to the market, we've seen the opposite of that for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years here in Hamilton, where proper exposure, proper marketing at a lower price has yielded in a over market value once buyers make competing offers on it.
Now, little caveat there, the buyers are tired of it. Buyers would much prefer to see an accurate price, current value, and have a real shot at it, because it's really frustrating for buyers to see a price they think they can afford only to find out it's not a real price. They've hated that from day one, but they're all really tired of it because it's been years now. So an accurate price is always, even if it's not what buyers want to see, it's honest. So there's value to that too, being straightforward.
So it really depends on your market, where you are, what kind of inventory is there. But to answer this, it is possible that an agent might underprice to secure a sale, but it's not something we do, and it's not necessarily a secret.
Well, this one's, I don't think this is a secret. You'll likely spend more than you want to when buying a house. I wish it was not true. Houses are expensive, and the market has continued to go up for the last couple of months.
Been increasing. And to make matters worse for buyers, not only have we seen the consecutive increases in house prices over the last couple months, but we've also seen that interest rates have continued to climb too. So affordability now versus even a year ago when prices were 6% higher this time last year, it's more expensive now.
So the key here for buyers is to know their budget really well and to spend less than the bank is willing to lend them, in my opinion. Just because the bank says you can afford $1 million doesn't necessarily mean you should buy for $1 million. Leave a little room. Things are getting more expensive, and adjust your expectations accordingly so that you can have money left at the end of the month as opposed to a month left at the end of the money.
Now, one thing to consider, the flip side of that is, and this comes back to knowing where the best value lies. And I have an experience recently with a buyer. We were looking in a particular price range because that's what they wanted. They wanted to be on the lower end of their budget, and the houses we were looking at were horrible. And they would have likely needed substantial repairs, most of them. But then when we looked 50,000 higher, it was like the houses were completely different. You actually got like a solid house, good bones, with some cosmetic work needed, but more square footage and less scary. So yes, you might spend more than you want to, but you also might get a lot more value in return.
And when we talk about knowing your budget, that's not just your carrying cost budget, it's also your renovation budget. So the two things together, your long run total family financial picture.
I wish we were getting houses cheaper and spending less, but those days are over for now, I think. Don't skip the final walkthrough. Again.
You know what though? The importance of it might not have been super clear. When things are going well, you don't know the problems you've avoided. That final walkthrough, when it goes well, it's a beautiful day.
And most of them do.
Most of them do.
So the final walkthrough, these are built into the offer that is accepted. Buyers have the opportunity to visit the home before closing. So typically we have two. We reserve the last one for as close to closing as we can. And this is to make sure that the home is in the same condition that it was when you bought it, but also to make sure that there's like no big problems and that what you asked for in the agreement is still there.
I'm gonna tell a quick story. Years ago, I had a client who was really, really busy, and we decided to skip that final walkthrough. Everything was fine. When they took the keys and got into the house, they realized that the seller had replaced all the appliances with old ones, and the deal was already done. So we would have noticed something like that on a final walkthrough had we gone the day before. So I've never made that mistake again.
That final walkthrough is super, super important. We had another one recently where the sellers had agreed to move out all of their stuff. Like they had an enormous amount of stuff in this house. So it was very well written in that this was to happen. And you know what it was? It was those walkthroughs we went through that we were able to give the nudges that were necessary and keep the lawyers up to speed on the state of the property so that they could make any last minute adjustments if need be.
Yeah. Don't skip the final walkthrough. Absolutely agree.
What else we got? Commission can be negotiable. For us, we have more of like a menu type commission where it's not super cookie cutter, it's not like a flat rate. It really depends on what you need as a client. So very interesting to see what people think are secrets. I'd be curious to know, do any of you feel that those were things that you didn't know? Like that would be a secret, but we'll have to elaborate on maybe more that we can think of in future videos. And so stay tuned for our next video. If you like this information, consider subscribing or following us on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and all the other places that we are. And if you have any specific real estate questions or you'd like to talk to us about buying, about selling, in our description, either below or in our bio, you can find links to our calendar, which you can set up an appointment with us really easy.
We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time.